Hey there, I'm Sakura, and today I want to talk about ADHD medication. Now, this is not normally anything to do with what I do on this channel, usually. I normally make gaming videos, horror gaming. If you like horror games, then you can stay with me here and we can play some spooky shit. But yeah, today I want to talk about ADHD medication because I very recently started on it. I'm on day 19? I'm day 19. I'm almost 3 weeks in, exactly. So yeah, I want to talk about how it's affected me because a lot of people are going to have all these different experiences, but I think it helps to know different ones, and that sometimes it can be completely abnormal because I would not say that my experience is what they tell you is common. Now, of course, there's like different medications, different ADHD medications, and I believe there's over 30 actually of them, but I believe there are two categories where they fall under, and one is like amphetamines. I'm just gonna cut in here real quick and say that I was completely wrong. It's not amphetamines, it's this. So I believe like Adderall, Ritalin, and then the other side of it, you have lisdexamphetamines, which I'm on one of those. The one that I'm on is called Elvance. I believe the reason why they gave me lisdexamphetamines is because you are more likely to have an allergic reaction on the ones that I'm on, but I usually don't react to stuff, so they've given me those because they have them more on hand because other people can't have them. But yeah, regardless of what ADHD medication you get put on, the majority of the like common and expected side effects, they're pretty much the same, really. But you will obviously want to talk to whoever's given you the medication for any specific ones for that medication. But yeah, so in my experience, I started off my week 1 on 30 milligrams, and then I went up to 50 for the second week, and then we decided that 50 was good, so I'm still on 50. It seems to be that 50 is the right dose for me, so there's going to be a bit of trial and error to see what dose is best for you. And that's something that I want to start off with talking about here, is that during my first week, because I was on 30 milligrams, what you should really be told, and I wasn't actually told this, I found this out, but if you are on too low of a dose of ADHD medication, you can actually start to feel worse than you were before, like with your focus and attention span, like your distractibility, your hyperactivity, all of that can get worse. And that is like partially because your body's like, you know, reacting to something that's new in your system, of course, but like that should only sort of be for the first sort of few days. Like your body's like, it doesn't know what to do, it has a bit of a panic, right? But then after that it should really calm down and start to settle, but it won't settle if the dose is too low. You will start to completely go the other way. So what happened with me during my first week was I started off really hyper for the first few days, like I was buzzing. So one of the symptoms that they tell you about that you would kind of expect at the beginning is mania. So that's what I had going on for the first few days. I was incredibly hyper. I found it difficult to sleep. I was like proper bouncy and like stimming a lot. So yeah, started off with mania. Great. And then, like, even though I wasn't really sleeping very well, as soon as the medication kicked in the next day, my body was just like,
I don't need sleep, it's fine.
But then that finally caught up to me. Day 4 and 5, I started to feel it, that I hadn't really slept very well. So yeah, you need to be prepared that it might disrupt your sleep, especially at the very beginning until you got into like a pattern with it. So I used to go to bed, and this is really bad, I used to go to bed at like 4 or 5 in the morning some nights. And then I would wake up anywhere between sort of 12 in the afternoon and 2 p.m. But yeah, fast forward a few weeks of like, you know, adapting to this medication, and I wake up at 10 a.m. now. You have to work with the medication, so what time of the day you take it matters and all of this. So if you want to take it as early as possible during the day, because with a lot of the medications, they will be in your system for at least 12 hours. You can get ones that like last for about 4 hours, I think, or something like that, like little short bursts where you take more than one during the day. But yeah, the one that I'm on, it stays in your system for 14 hours. I didn't realize it was 14 hours initially. I thought it was 12, and that matters more than you think at the beginning. But yeah, apart from the hyperactivity and not really being able to sleep and stuff, I felt pretty good. Like I felt like I could do stuff, and I just had so much like enthusiasm, I guess the word would be, like, but I was like highly impulsive, like too impulsive with stuff and just too energetic, and I couldn't like calm down. Yeah, just really super hyper, and I could do nothing about it. That died off, and as I say, day 4 and 5, the tiredness started to hit me. But also, basically going up from mania, like with bipolar disorder, if you have mania, you fall down to like depression or whatever. Like, it's a drastic difference, right? So I went from being manic to the complete opposite. My brain did not want to work for like literally a week solid. I could barely think. I had so much brain fog going on. I couldn't put a single thought together. Like, it was, I would say it was awful, but like I didn't really feel anything. I was just kind of like a zombie. Like, I was just emotionally dead. And it was at this point where I was wondering if it was the wrong medication for me, because I was just like, if I was to take a higher dose, I thought that would just make how I felt worse, right? That just makes sense, that it would like make things worse than they already were. Yeah, no, the reason why it went that way is because it has the opposite effect if you're on too low of a dose. So initially my body was like, oh, this is great, wow, I had all this energy, but then it was like not enough to work. So everything just shut down. So I was a bit skeptical about trying 50 milligrams, but they put me up to 50 milligrams and I went along with it. I was like, okay, like, you know, it's only been 1 week, things could drastically change yet. Like, I was willing to give it a chance. And also I didn't really feel like anxious about anything. So I didn't really know if I cared or not. But it was all normal. Apparently, I just didn't know. But anyway, so we go up to 50 milligrams, week 2. It was the second day where I was on 50 milligrams that I started to notice a bit of a difference. I was like, the brain fog is going, and I felt like I could actually think about what I wanted to do. I was like, okay, like I noticed a shift enough for me to be like, okay, something's happening here. I was like, okay, let's stay with it. And it was like every single day on 50 milligrams, my head got clearer and clearer and clearer until we got to, 6 days. And then I had this sudden realization that I was actually not only able to think clearly, but I didn't have loads of thoughts in my head. I had one thought in my head, and it was consciously like what I was actively thinking about, and I didn't have all these like other thoughts that were trying to battle it out in my head for my attention. And I realized that was bizarre. Like, my entire life it's just been all of these different things shouting at me to be like, you know, this is what I need to do. It's what, like, that's how I made decisions, was my brain shouting things at me. So I had this whole breakdown because I was like, how am I supposed to decide what to do? I was like, how do I make that decision? I have free reign over my brain now. I was like, what do you mean? I don't know how to use it. Yeah, I didn't know what to do with that information, and I just kind of crumbled. Because yeah, it quiets your brain down. Like, if you have any sort of like resemblance of anxiety, which a lot of people with ADHD do, it calms it the hell down. Yeah, it was something to really get my head around. I would literally stand still when I was like, right, what do I want to do today? I would stand still, and I could be stood there, and I would just space out for like a few minutes before I was like, what do I want to do? Because I have to actively think. I have to actively decide what I want to do. But like, that's just how it is to think for most people, like neurotypical people. They actively decide what to do, and then they do it. So like, I was actively like thinking about what I can do, and I was like, right, I should do this thing. But then I was like, what, just like that? Just do it? I was like, huh? What do you mean? Yeah, so it was day 6 on that dose. I got told to stay on 50 because I started seeing a bit of a difference that day and the day after, that I could decide and do stuff, like get on with stuff, and I could think clearly, like clearer anyway. I was like, the brain fog was still there, but it was clearer. So we decided that I should stay on that dose. And also because like, I have a medical condition called POTS, where if you stand up too quickly or like sit up too quickly, like you like get really lightheaded because it's like your blood pressure like drops. So I've just had to be like mindful about that. But yeah, let me just go through, so week 1 and week 2, the like bad side effects that can come with ADHD medication, right? So there was the mania, but that was very temporary. And if it's not temporary for you, that is not a good sign. I don't know how long is too long. But again, speak to your prescriber person, your ADHD specialist. Yeah, talk to them about that. But yeah, the mania, excessive stimming, like that's calmed down a bit for me now, week 3, but like week 2, it got kind of bad, where I was doing like skin picking, like I was picking like any spots that came up, like making some bleed. So like if you already do that, because I already did that, then it can make stuff like that worse, like because basically that's like a symptom of anxiety. Again, a side effect of the medication, which is temporary, is that it can make anxiety symptoms worse. So just keep that in mind. Another thing is that I really started to feel like headachy during week 2 especially, but I think they started in week 1 a bit, but definitely during week 2. And then it sort of calmed down towards the end of the week, going into week 3. And I can sort of still get headachy slightly at the moment. The majority of the side effects that will go away would have gone away by a month. So I can do like a little update if you guys want me to. Something that I really, really noticed during week 3, so the past week, it started in week 2, but I started to notice that I was hungry before it got to the point where my stomach was like proper gnawing and I was like in pain kind of hungry. For the past at least 10 years, I have literally operated with my stomach being at that point where it hurts for me to be like, oh, I haven't eaten all day. And this is like every day because I get so caught up in doing stuff. I get so distracted. Yeah, I can actually feel hunger cues now before that happens. And the same with thirst as well. Like I actually feel thirsty. Like I'm actually kind of constantly thirsty at the moment, but that should pass. I'm hoping it does for me, but yeah, I'm like constantly thirsty. So like what's weird about that with like me feeling like hungry and whatever is that I was told that this medication that I'm on specifically, and I don't know if it's the same for other ones, but like lisdexamfetamine, so not just Elvance, but all of the ones under that umbrella, they are supposed to apparently reduce your appetite, but my appetite was already like basically non-existent. So I don't know why, but it's, I guess, flipped the switch the other way so that I'm like always hungry, or at least like I actually do feel hungry now. It feels like I'm always hungry, but that's because I'm so used to not feeling hungry for the past, as I say, at least 10 years. I think I was a teenager the last time I can remember being actually hungry at like a meal time. Another side effect that started up in week 2 was sweating. Random as fuck sweating. Like in my hands, I would just feel gross and clammy, like in my sort of hairline a little bit, like my armpits. The medication can make you feel sweaty. You just start sweating and you can just be sat still and it just happens. Like just watching TV, whatever, and you will just start sweating, and it's nothing to do with like the room temperature. It's really weird. Thankfully for me, that's calmed down, but that's one of the side effects that if you end up with sweating as a side effect, that is usually something that will persist as long as you are on the medication. So I'm probably still going to have it every now and then, but it was like so often during week 2. It was excessive. It was so excessive. Like it was just like, what the fuck? So that is something that you would have to consider. Like if you have sweating on your medication, like I would say stick it out and see if it gets better like it did for me. But if it persists and it's like unbearable, like they say to you, like it's up to you whether you can deal with that or not, basically. But yeah, like the top things that they tell you to look out for on the medication are anxiety, including like the hyperactivity and the mania, and then headaches are very common, but they should pass. And then, yeah, sweating is another big one that a lot of people have. You can get dizziness and nausea, and it can upset your stomach. I haven't really had like the nausea. The dizziness is only when I stand up too quickly, and the upset stomach, I have noticed a difference in my bowel movements. But I wouldn't say that they're bad. I would actually say that it's better somehow, which is weird because there's no sort of evidence that says that ADHD medication will help with your bowel, but there we go. I've also had a lot of issues going on. I have gallstones, so there's that. But anyway, so I've covered like week 1 and 2 mostly, but how I am now, how I've been the past week. Let's go. So things had already started to go in the positive direction during week 2, but week 3, we finally, and this is still on 50 milligrams for me, we finally start feeling like the brain fog has like almost completely gone by the start of the week. So I don't know exactly how my brain just adapted to the whole thing where I was like, how do I make my own decisions without my brain shouting at me? But like I've literally just thought something the past week and done it. Like, there's been a few things where, like, they're not super exciting, so I have procrastinated a little bit. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. The ADHD medication doesn't make you excited for things that are really fucking boring to you. That's not what they're gonna do. But what they will do is make it easier. Like, it'll be easier to get started, because your body will start doing something because you decided to do it without you really putting much thought into it. Your body will start doing it. If that makes any sense. I don't really have to coax myself into stuff as much, anywhere near as much. I would have to encourage myself to even do stuff that I enjoyed, you know? That stuff, I literally will just kind of do it now. But anything like boring or just like, I would have put it off before because I feel a bit tired. It's like my brain's just like, I'm not tired. Let's do it. Let's do it right now. And I will literally just do stuff there and then. And then I'll be like, wait, I just did that. So what I normally do on a Tuesday is I record videos for YouTube. And normally what I would do is I would record and like do like a little bit of like changing things around with the audio to then send to my editor. And the video that I would be editing myself that week, I would just plonk it in a file and cut it to where like it would start and finish. And then I'd be like, right, I'm gonna edit that tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, Thursday as I edit normally. But what happened on Tuesday was, not only did I record all the videos that I needed to, but I also completely edited the one that I'd recorded that I would have been editing on the Thursday. I did that on the Tuesday. So when it came to Thursday, I was kind of like, what do I do today? I did have some other stuff to do, but like that was like the bulk of my day on a Thursday is usually editing, but I had none to do because I'd fucking done it on the Tuesday, which was insane. And I'd also got the footage together for Deshawn to edit. So it was just, huh? Like I'd literally done like 2 days of work in a day.
What the fuck?
And it just made me really excited because it's like, okay, if I can do like basically 2 days of work in one day, that frees up a lot of time for more work. Like, I'm obsessed with work, just so we know. I'm like a workaholic. I'm just, yeah, I do not know how to take days off. I'm like a machine, or at least I treat myself like one, and it's really bad. But yeah, no, I love what I do. I love what I do. So it's just like, if I can do more of it, great, right? Great, amazing. For ages, this is something that's happened literally the past weekend just gone. I've lived here just over a year now. And so you can't see it, but there's like the corner of the room where like, there's a wardrobe, and there was like a little dresser with like stuff just piled on top. It was just like sort of wedged in. It was just boxes and stuff. It was just messy. Every time I looked that way, it stressed me out because I hate clutter. I fucking hate it, right? What I did during last week was I ordered a dresser, a bigger one, because I've also got clothes that are just like, they were anyway, just sat on my piano stool, so I couldn't sit on it. Like 3 piles of clothes because it's a long piano stool, right? What I did was I bought this dresser and all the clothes, I put them away over the weekend, but I also moved things around so that the wardrobe is like along the other wall, and there's like actually space to get into the drawers and the wardrobe, because before there was stuff in front of the wardrobe, so every time I wanted to get in the wardrobe I would have to move this stuff out of the way. So I like never went in the wardrobe basically because it was too much effort. I've tidied up that entire area now, so I can just get in the drawers, get in the wardrobe. Like, I threw some bits away. I put some stuff like in a different place. I found room for stuff. Like, this is the thing, like I'm just suddenly able to come up with ideas like of how to fix something. Like, if something's been a problem for ages, I can really quickly come up with a solution now compared to before. I always thought that I was really good at coming up with like answers and solutions to problems, but it's got nothing on how quickly I come up with stuff now. It takes seconds sometimes. It's insane. I don't have to think about it and like let it go to my subconscious for like a week. I literally on the spot think of doing something, and even though the medication is supposed to reduce impulsivity, I would have to say for me, it hasn't done that. But I don't mind. Like, if I have the time and I don't have to be doing something else, I don't mind if I'm impulsively moving furniture around, which I seem to do that. I was doing that before being on the medication, but like I can actually envision how things will work better now. Like, if I'm gonna move stuff around, I know how it makes sense to do it. I've moved shit before and been like, that doesn't really work, but it's like I've already moved everything. So it's like, oh no, I don't want to move it back. So like I can tell if something will fit in a gap or like whatever, or I'll be like, you know, smart and actually get my tape measure out rather than being all like, yes, I think that'll fit in there, yes. I'm actually just using my brain, basically. It's a superpower. It's impulsivity, but with the intelligence there. It's actually smart impulsivity. So I don't mind. So as I say, I've been able to buckle down and get my work done faster, and I've been able to solve problems faster. I feel like I'm also able to not multitask, but like I'm able to listen to something whilst I'm doing something else, and it doesn't, like I don't end up getting caught on the thing that I'm listening to. Started to listen to like podcasts and stuff, like motivational ones and that kind of thing. But it's like, yeah, I can actually take that information in whilst I'm doing something else. It depends on what it is, but if it's something like filling out the YouTube description for a video, I can listen to something and it doesn't distract me. Yeah, my head just feels a lot clearer. It's just waiting for me to tell it what to do. Like, I feel calmer. I always had this like whole massive stressful feeling that was just always there, like so prominent and so chronic, which is probably why I have chronic fatigue syndrome. I've had this stressed, anxious feeling for years that it's just never gone away, and I just sort of accepted it as just like, that's just how I am, that's just how I feel every day, like that's my normal. I still kind of have it. I feel it when I'm like trying to think and do something, but when I'm like able to just sit back and I can literally empty my brain and then I can actually feel calm, and it's really bizarre. Like being able to think absolutely nothing is one of the most bizarre things that this medication has done for me. And then being able to feel hungry and thirsty. Like I basically just feel a lot more like in tune with my body. Like it's something I'm going to be speaking to my therapist about. Like I've always felt like it's like I can't relax completely, and I don't know if that's an ADHD thing or what. Like I'm in therapy for depression, and I keep flagging up as being mild to moderately depressed, and I feel like being on this medication has drastically decreased my depression. So there's that. But there is this like, yeah, stressful feeling. And I wouldn't say that I'm like a massively anxious person, unless it is anxiety that I've always been feeling. It's just because I never really had anything where it was like something would make me anxious. Like I get stressed about stuff, obviously everyone does, and everyone feels anxious about different things. Like it depends on what it is, what we're talking about. Like, but it was like, you know, because it was so chronic, like it never went away. So like maybe that is like an anxiety thing, but I've never flagged up for anxiety. I suppose that could have been just like my only symptom and like the skin picking every now and then, but it wasn't enough to qualify as being anxious, even though it was persistent and every day. Like, I don't know. I don't know. There is a chance that I am also maybe autistic. I'm gonna be checking up on that, because I mean maybe it's that. Maybe that's a symptom of autism more than ADHD. Although anxiety can coexist with ADHD, I don't think it's part of it, you know? So this feeling is a bit weird because I can't explain why it's there. Who knows? Maybe after being on this medication for longer, I will be like calm all the time, not just when I empty my brain. We'll see. But yeah, so this is like going on like super long. But basically, yeah, we're on week 3, and it's a bit too soon to really be all like dramatic about it and say my life has completely changed, because it's like been a week where I've been feeling like this specifically, where I have this much control over what I decide to do. But like it's looking so positive. It's crazy. I've been able to do stuff, you know, that I haven't been able to do for years in this such an easy manner. There's no procrastination. I mean, there's a little, actually, sorry, I tell a lie, there is a little, but that's only for stuff that's like super fucking boring, right?
Housework, no one likes that.
But yeah, for like stuff that I want to do for me, stuff that I believe will benefit me. This is the thing, I think something that's really helped maybe as well as the medication is that I have been doing a lot of reading into how to get yourself to do stuff that you don't want to do. Like, even though it's connected to like your dream, like what you want in life, doesn't mean that like the steps along the way aren't going to be really fucking tedious and boring. You have to see the bigger picture. Let's just say it's editing a video, which some people might find that really, really tedious and boring. I don't. personally, although it does take a while. But like if I thought it was really fucking, I was like, oh my god, hate editing. If you have that attitude about it, instead of being like, why am I doing this? You know, why am I editing? Why am I sat here for however many hours editing this footage? Like, I think it's important to remember why. And it actually works with housework as well, because it's like, if you ask yourself anytime you got to do something, how is this task that I'm doing gonna benefit me? And if it is housework, then it's like, well, if you're doing the washing, you're gonna have clean clothes to wear, right? If you're cooking a meal, it's like, well, I'm gonna have food to eat so I don't die, you know, that kind of thing. There is a reason, there is a purpose behind everything that we do, even if it is really, really boring. So it's just, I think it's like having the mentality as well that what you're doing is worthwhile. It has meaning. There is a purpose behind it. The ADHD medication just helps you get there, because like before I was on the medication, I could have told myself till the fucking cows came home that it was important for me to eat. It was important for me to take a shower that evening. But like, if I really wasn't feeling it, I would just, you know, sit there in my like frozenness, like, because the thing is with ADHD, if we don't want to do something, we not only get frozen and like don't do that thing, but we also don't end up doing anything else as well, because our body is like, it's like we go into this like whole shutdown thing where we just can't move. In our head, we might be like getting up, like, I'm doing the thing, gonna go do the thing. Like, so we see ourselves doing it in our head, and I do this so much. Like, you see yourself getting up to do it, but your physical body is just sat there. And then you realize that you haven't moved after a bit of imagining yourself doing said task, and that is frustrating. But yeah, being on this medication, I think about doing the thing, and then before I know it, my body is actually doing it. I am actually physically doing the thing, like without much thinking. And it is bizarre. I could probably keep talking about this forever, but like I have to edit this down. So yeah, this is probably gonna go up later in the week than I intended. I was gonna record this last week, but see, this is one of the things that I did procrastinate on, but see, the thing is, I said months ago, I can't remember exactly when, but I was like, oh, I should make a video on depression. Did I? No, I did not. So like, I did procrastinate making this video, but nowhere near as much as that. By the way, let me know if you would like me to make a video on depression still. Yeah, I only if there's like a want for it. For those people that don't watch this video, then I'll make a post and be like, hey guys, you want me to talk about depression? Yeah. I hope that this video was like helpful, informative, at least comical in some places. Yeah, if you have anything that you'd like to say in the comments below, then let me know. Like, we can have like a little chat, have a little bit of a, isn't ADHD fun? I want to open up like the lines of communication for anyone who knows my channel already and they have or may think they have ADHD and they're curious about ADHD and the medication. Like, let me know if you have any sort of like relevant experience with ADHD. Like, this is the thing, I very much love learning about mental health disorders and like the brain and like psychology of stuff. I love anything like that. Like, I'm like obsessed actually, which it would be nice to start talking about this kind of thing more on my channel. It's just like, I want to see what the vibe is, because like mostly this is a gaming channel. This type of video might bring in new people, so if you're new, hi. And stick around if you like horror games and someone who with ADHD who sporadically talks about mental health disorders, but maybe will start doing them more regularly now she's on medication. But yeah, alright, that's it from me. Stay spooky, not gloomy, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye everyone!